Hello again, viewer, and welcome to this installment of the Daily Cannon Tactics Board. Stephen Bradley here to bring you the tactical tweaks and quirks that came from Arsenal's 1-1 draw away at Benfica in Rome in the Europa League on Thursday night. And this game was very much a case of if it's not broke, don't fix it by Mikel Arteta. It was the first time he's named an unchanged side. It's the first time Arsenal have picked unchanged sides in 2018. And yeah, he looked at the Leeds game. He saw it went 4-0 after an hour, and he went, yeah, I liked that. I want more of that, please. And I can't blame him. And if Arsenal had a little bit more luck and a little bit, better luck in front of goals, it might have been a similar result. They created a similar amount of chances, similar quality of chances. And yeah, they should be disappointed to only take a 1-1 draw from it. They were the better side, they played the better football, and they created the better chances. It's going to be interesting to see from here how a couple of players come into the side and this changes, and we'll go through that with a couple of substitutions he made. But yeah, I mean, the takeaway from this game is basically we're starting to understand Mikel Arteta's end goal with this team. It's very much a case of what he saw at Manchester City under Pep Guardiola, and I know Guardiola's done brilliantly with far more resources and better players to work with, but it's not 4-2-3-1, it's not 4-3-3 or anything like that. It's 4-2-0. And what I mean by "nyeh" is that you need these four players up front to be as mobile and to be as versatile as possible, so that they can pop up in any position, so that they can drag the defence out of position, so that if Odegaard gets the ball here, Smith Rowe goes there. If Smith Rowe is here, Aubameyang can go there. Or if Smith Rowe decides to sail here, well, now Saka knows. If Saka goes here, Odegaard can go, and so on. They need to be versatile, and we saw that against Leeds in a couple of goals, especially with Saka's ability to dribble past this centre back and that centre back. But what Arsenal came up against, as opposed to a Leeds side that had pushed everyone forward like this, and were trying to catch Arsenal out just by pushing numbers, what you had was a Benfica side that was rather bizarre in its setup, because they attacked as, five and then with their two wing backs, but not in the way you'd think. And they certainly didn't defend as a five in the way you'd think, because when you hear five at the back, especially if you're used to watching Arsenal play five at the back over the last couple of years, you would know it's a very, very defensive setup. And just for argument, let's say Xhaka here is the third centre back. We'll call him, whether he wants to be Mari or you want to call him Rob Holding or whatever. And Arsenal would defend like this. And hope, basically. But hope, I suppose, is a bad word, but it is your archetypal low block. And they would sit here and they would wait. And they would just let you knock the ball around them, and it would be as simple as we're going to get the ball, it's going to go to a quick winger here, a quick winger here, we've got a quick forward up front, and bang. We're going to counter-attack as quick as possible. And if that doesn't work, back to the trenches we go, lads. Midfield sits nice and narrow, attacker runs around a bit, tries to put a bit of pressure on, and you sit back and you turtle up. And it's how Arsenal won an FA Cup. They were able to defend just brilliantly, and your wing backs would bomb forward, Aubameyang would find this channel here, ball from here over the top, bang. Worked against City, worked against Liverpool, etc., etc. It's, it was a basic plan, but executed very well. Benfica did not do that. Benfica did not do that at all. What Benfica did was they took a look at Arsenal and said, we have a plan that'll work and you'll recognise it. But it wasn't the Arsenal of 2021 or the 2011 or the 2001. It was the Arsenal of 1991. It was George Graham. It was back four, sometimes back five. And it was this. It was, here, that's offside, mate. And they did it really well, because what they did was they had Waterschmidt playing as centre forward, and he's a decent player, but in this, the way Benfica was set up today, wasn't his game at all. Nunes, again, really good player, but wasn't given any service. Gabriel did a very good job man marking him. Trapped and Pizzi were asked to basically play almost free, and didn't really get enough chances on the ball because Odegaard and Smith Rowe were really, really well drilled in making sure that they didn't get much of the ball, just caught up passing lanes. And yeah, Julian Weigl left in the middle of the park, often went to the left a little bit. But for the first half, Benfica didn't really have a plan on the ball. They were so focused on compressing the game as much as possible. Because, like I said, with a 5, you expect the team to do this. But even with Gonçalves, who's not that quick, Verissimo, who was his first game for Benfica, not that quick. Otamendi, as we know from Manchester City, not that quick. Jan Vertonghen, as we know from Tottenham, not that quick. And Alex Grimaldo, who's a left mid, masquerading as a left back, he's okay, but nothing spectacular. You expect a back 5 like that to be right. Okay, they're going to sit back. They're going to do this. They're going to make sure there's plenty of room in front of them. Aubameyang's not going to beat him with his pace. Saka's not going to beat him with his pace. Cedric or Bellerin are not going to beat him with their pace. No. They were more than happy to A, let Arsenal have the ball, and B, do this. Push all the way up. Trying to, in essence, make Arsenal make a mistake with the ball. Push Arsenal into positions where they don't want to be. Let's get Xhaka back here. Let's get Xhaka back here. Ceballos back here. And they were almost pressing like this. Like, it was mad to see such a high line from such a slow group of defenders, but they caught Arsenal offside 10 times. You know, it's the most Arsenal being caught offside in like 15 years, according to Orbinho. And if you aren't following Orbinho on Twitter, do, at ORBINHO. But it dared Arsenal into playing long balls through here for Aubameyang. I'll grab him eventually. There we go. Through there. And Saka's essentially, because Vertonghen was sticking to him like a limpet, to spin him and get through there. And it was working. It was working just, but it was working because Odegaard was being asked again and again to find those through balls in and around, and he was almost doing it. Smith Rowe was being asked to make a bit of space, and he was almost doing it. And they were daring Arsenal into just lumping the ball long and finding him down the gaps. And it worked to a point. What changed was when Arsenal started to realise that they were defending with 5 and defending with a 5 in a line. What Odegaard did, and Odegaard was very, very good in this game. Odegaard decided that when Trapp and Weigl and Pizzi pushed on a little bit, that he would stay here and not join in. So when Aubameyang and Saka and Smith Rowe were looking for channels, he would stay right here. He would find that little bit of space where Pizzi had left, where Trapp had left, and he would go, right, anytime we have the ball, Cedric's going to bomb on, Bellerin's going to go on, Xhaka's going to go here, they're going to go back a little bit, Gabriel's going to come over, David Luiz is going to go there, and Ceballos is going to try and make a little space here so Bellerin can bomb on. Odegaard made sure that he was here every time. And you're going to see this a lot more from Arsenal in the coming months, because tonight it didn't work. And it didn't work because Cedric and Bellerin basically didn't look. As soon as Bellerin got the ball past Pizzi and he saw Grimaldo had basically done this and Gonçalves had done this, the fullbacks went, okay, and tried to bomb on themselves. Bellerin on the right and Cedric on the left. Probably by instruction, but they're told as soon as you get the ball, make space. And in some circumstances it can work, in some sizes it doesn't. And for the whole of the first half, they were so preoccupied by getting to here and getting to here by the ball that they never looked. And it happened 5 or 6 times. And when they were here, when this back line of 5 that was moving almost like holding a rope together so that it would stay in one line, what they were failing to realise was that Odegaard was here and no one was marking him. The Trapp was too busy trying to get to this channel. Pizzi was too busy trying to get this channel. Julian Weigl just couldn't keep up with him. And the 2 strikers were not pressing at all. And Odegaard had time and space over and over again. And they didn't find him. And it was the story of the first half. That A, Odegaard was getting space here. And B, Vertonghen was doing his absolute best to try and keep a hold of Saka. Couldn't work. Grimaldo had to double team him. And Bellerin was able to get down the right at will. And it's if I show you the heat maps, it'll show you how much Benfica were pressing Arsenal and how little Arsenal were pushing up in Benfica when they had the ball. Because look where Benfica had the ball the most. Here. Trapped here, Weigl here, Pizzi here, with Grimaldo here. Because if we go to Grimaldo's heat map, Grimaldo is there above the halfway line. Gonçalves is here above the halfway line. And Benfica were getting the ball here and here, all the way across the back line, across the halfway line. They were, because Arsenal, when they were defending, were more than happy just to sit back like they always do. Low block. Odegaard come in there. And Smith Rowe would be here. Aubameyang here, Saka here, and then Odegaard. And it would be like 4-3-3. And Arsenal would be like, you have the ball all you want there. We know you're not going to do anything. And they were right. The only way Benfica were going to make an impact on Arsenal was to change their tactics on the ball. And they did that at half time. But Odegaard here, Saka there, Smith over here. So Benfica would often find themselves in this position, 5-3-2, and it wasn't working. It just wasn't working. Waldschmidt wasn't finding any space at all. Pizzi was, though, and he was finding it. If we go back to the heat map, let's move Xhaka there a little bit. Here's Benfica's heat map. Now, are they running down their left wing? No, they are not. As you can see, they did nothing here. However, there's a little bit of green there coming in here because what they decided was Cedric is doing this too much. And we're going to pounce. So what they did was they took off Waldschmidt and they brought on Rafa. And they told Pizzi and Rafa to do this. Basically, any time Cedric goes up the field, one of you, it doesn't matter who, one of you gets here. And make Xhaka come back to cover him. And that will stop Arsenal from making these passes all the time. And the goal they got was a little bit fortunate because, look, Smith Rowe gets hit in the arm, it bounced off his chest, but anytime you do this on a penalty, like if you're defending like this and the ball hits you there and then hits there, you're going to say, okay, I didn't deliberately hit the ball, but you've got to explain why your hand is there in the first place. So yeah, it's one of those ones where if that's for Arsenal, it's a penalty. So you kind of have to accept it in the rules the way they're written. Again, we've gone over this in previous videos before, how some of the rules are written rather poorly. But it's a penalty, hot penalty, 1-0. And what do you do? What do you do with Arsenal? And the correct response was nothing. The correct response was the way you're playing so far is the right way. Yes, Aubameyang is making runs that only a top-level striker that Aubameyang can make. And yes, he's missing chances, but this is the player Aubameyang is. If you were to list in order his skill set of what he is best at, number one is not his finishing. Number one is his ability to get into those pockets of space inside the box where he can score. He's wonderful at it. Like, there's maybe one or two strikers in the world better than him. Maybe Lewandowski. Maybe. And as a result, because he puts himself into so many goal-scoring positions, he misses a lot of them because he's not as good a finisher as Lewandowski. So you'll get games like Leeds where he'll get 2-3 chances and he'll score them all and you'll think, oh, he's back. And then you'll get games tonight where he'll be here and miss. And you're like, oh my God, but it's what you have to put up with Aubameyang. He's too good to continually make those sorts of mistakes. It's just not lottery, but it's just his skill set. It's just him as a player. He's going to get into that position time and time and time again, and most of the time he'll score, but occasionally he won't. And it's, like I said, it is the difference between a really, 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 really good striker in Aubameyang and a world-class one like a Suarez, a Lewandowski, etc., a Kane, where they get into those positions and they don't miss. Occasionally he does. And, the question is, you keep making chances like that. You keep making sure that someone gets in the box. And when Arsenal went back up the field, 2 minutes later, Benfica did this again. They went to their 5. And they were nice and narrow because they were like, we don't care if these lads get in all day game, great, because we want Rafa or Pizzi to get in there. We're trying to invite them on. But it was the first time all game that Gonçalves let Cedric go, didn't pick him up, and Odegaard, which is why Arsenal fans should really be hoping that Odegaard stays, because if he plays like this, he's a find. Odegaard finds that ball. But what makes this front 4 work so well is that Smith Rowe is just as capable of going there and playing that pass, in my opinion. But what Smith Rowe excels in is, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, but bear with me, Smith knows when and where to be. He knows that if there's space here, he can go here. He knows that if there's space here or space here, he knows when to make a run and when to look for a pass. He also knows when the hell to get out of the way and when to say, no, I'm not needed. And tonight's game showed that basically any time Odegaard got the ball, the first thing Smith Rowe would do was do this. Would go right. Why? Because he was getting out of the way. He was trying to, make an overload on the right so that the defense would do this. So he's doing this. The defense is going this way. Gonçalves doesn't realize that Cedric's gone there. The ball is through the middle. The defense is going that way. Saka goes this way, and it's 1-1. And it's little things like that that need to happen for an attack to click. You need the movement from Smith Rowe to draw a defense to one side so that a defense can go the other way. You need Aubameyang to be making these runs all game long, just so even if they're not working, the defense has to respect the threat of it working, because they then have to keep an eye on him at all times, and then they can't keep an eye on Saka at all times, and one of them beats them. And as a result, Arsenal got the goal they deserved. And I won't say should have won the game, because what happened afterwards, if this is not the first time you've seen one of our videos on Daily Cannon, first off, thank you. If it is, you'll know that during the Villa game, I lambasted Mikel Arteta for putting Pepe here and Smith and Saka here. And then when Pepe was here, I lambasted him, not because Pepe was there, but because he brought on Willian and then put Pepe here. So Cedric is here at left back. After an hour, Arteta decides that Kieran Tierney, he's fit. We need to get him game time because we need to get match fit as quickly as possible, because he's our only good left back, at least natural left back. And we need to give him time to get back fitness, and so that I can rely on him again. And first thing he did was bomb on forward. And Tierney is a massive upgrade on Cedric, just for the fact that he's left-footed. It might sound simple, but any time Benfica tried to press Arsenal with the ball, they would all go as a unit. And what I mean by that is that if Bellerin had the ball, when they were, especially at 1-1, Weigl would go, Tarat would go, Pizzi would go, Rafa would go, Nunez would go, Grimaldo, Vertonghen, Otamendi. They'd all do this. They'd all make sure that it was compressed, trying to make sure that the game was in as small as an area as they could, so that they'd less area to defend. And that meant that this pass was on all game long. It just needed to go here quickly. And when you've got someone right-footed like Cedric playing on left back, he's going to be here. Just because he's making sure he's giving himself enough room on his left foot in case he miscontrols it. It's natural. Tierney, nope, he's going to be here trying to stretch the pitch out as much as possible because he wants the ball on his left foot so he can go as far down the line as possible and stretch out the play as possible. Because then, if you do that once, now Gonçalves can't go as close to it as he wants to because he has to respect this. That means Verissimo has to go. That means Otamendi has to go. That means Vertonghen has to go. That means Grimaldo has to go. That means Tarat has to go. And suddenly, as you can see, there's not much pressure on Bellerin anymore. And it was working okay. Again, it's Tierney's first game back in a month. You don't expect, miracles from him. He's literally shaking the rust off in front of you. What can you do? The problem arose with 15 minutes to go. Arsenal were again getting on top, trying to find the winner, and they made 2 subs. Now, the problem it created for Arsenal wasn't a case of these are the wrong players to be playing at the wrong time, because Pepe has been superb at left wing for the last 3 or 4 weeks, to the point where it's legitimate question to say Pepe at left wing might be a better option than Pepe at right wing. His game might be suited, at least in the Premier League, or at least in this team, to be playing left wing. And Martinelli, yes, he's played a lot at left wing, but I think long term, if you're going to go, if Martinelli is going to develop as a player, you want him playing here, not here. Yes, if he does remind us a lot of Luis Suarez at Liverpool, Luis Suarez at Ajax played a lot here and a lot at 10. We want him as a 9. You want him in the ball, you want him to learn here. The problem that arose, and I don't blame Arteta for this at all, but the problem that arose is that Cedric and Pepe work because Pepe wants to be here and Cedric wants to be here. Saka and Pepe work because Saka is comfortable making this run here. He doesn't want to be kept on the wing so much. He just wants to run around and use his intelligence and use his versatility to get into positions of space. He's not sidelined by just one trick. And I'm not saying Tierney is either. But Tierney's best strength is the fact that he overlaps and overlap up and down, up and down. And his best strength is when he can do this and go like that. Problem is Pepe's best strength at left wing is when he can do this and do that. So now you have basically 2 players who are looking to do exactly the same thing at exactly the same time. And whilst Bellerin was still getting the best of Grimaldo at times, Arsenal just brought on Tierney and Pepe, and you're like, okay, we're going to focus the ball down here a lot because we've got fresh legs and they don't. Verissimo was struggling with cramp at this stage. He came off 5 minutes later, and you can understand okay, we're going to attack here. The problem arose was because Tierney and Pepe have never played together, at least on the same wing. And because they're trying to do the same thing at the same time, Xhaka would get the ball here, and he would play the ball ahead of Tierney, who would then try and make a run. Problem was that Pepe was now coming deep because he wants to get the ball as well, because he wants to make that run. So often, anytime Xhaka would pass the ball to here, both Tierney and Pepe would be now standing beside each other going, now what? Arsenal would have got Benfica's defence and press all the way over here, and then have got the ball out wide. And now these two, because they're not used to where each other wants to stand, what their tendencies are, they look at each other for a second or so and go, right, do you want to have the ball? No, you have the ball. No, you have the ball. Right, I'll run. No, you run. No, okay, I'll run. And while they were sorting that out, that's enough time for Gonçalves and Verissimo and Otamendi to shuffle back over, and the chance is gone. And it's a shame, but it was like, again, it's sand in the engine. It's like when bringing on Willian against Leeds, you brought on a player who was unsure of his role, and as a result, the whole thing came to a halt because now there's no running on one side. There's a little bit of running on the other side, but Bellerin and Saka had done so much work that they were getting tired. And unfortunately, the same happened again because Pepe and Tierney were both trying to be here, trying to do this. It's the too many cooks scenario. Remember what I said about Smith Rowe? His best ability is knowing when to get out of the way. neither of these two, because they were so inexperienced with playing each other, neither of them knew which one wanted the ball, which one should take the turn of having the ball, which one should take the turn of making the decoy run, which one should make the turn of making the run over the top for a through ball from the other. So they were hamstrung. They were hoping, trying, just a little bit of doubt. So yes, Tierney got one cross in from here, but he wasn't his barnstorming self just because he didn't know where Pepe was going to be. And Pepe couldn't, get into positions like this on the ball because he was afraid that Tierney was going to come for the sole purpose of getting the ball and doing this. And as a result, Arsenal weren't able to get those runs, those moves across field that were so successful in getting Saka and Aubameyang in the back. And then you add Martinelli, because now that the ball was getting stuck here a lot, Martinelli, in his enthusiasm, because he likes to get involved in the play a lot, well, where does he like to get the ball a lot? Here. So now, Pepe was here, Tierney was here, and Martinelli was coming back for the ball going, no, you two are messing around, give me the ball, I'll do something with it. Odegaard was here waiting for the ball, and that was just Saka against three centre-backs. Like, it's, again, these are not the manager's fault, because you can put this down to just inexperience and lack of playing time with each other. And yes, it's February, but Martinelli is only just back from a serious knee injury. Pepe is often here. Like it's just one of those situations where just a lack of playing time with each other just contributed to stalling, in effect, stalling the attack, and the game fizzled out to a draw. Like it's a very rare occasion where the home team won all. You'd think that they would be chasing a second goal to try and take a lead going away in the second leg, but with the format of the Europa League, especially now with two legs and both legs on neutral ground, a 0-0 at home is worth way more than a 0-0 away is now, because both legs are on neutral ground. You don't really have home and away. You have neutral and neutral, and one of those games has bonuses for scoring. So don't concede in the game that the other team has as bonuses for scoring, and you're doing well. And Benfica only conceded one, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next 7 days. Arsenal have two very contrasting games. They have a game against Manchester City where they would be asked to defend a lot, and a game against Benfica where they would be asked to attack a lot. And considering how much Arteta has stuck to the plan for the last two games, it'll be interesting to see how, or if at all, he changes anything up. Thank you. If you've reached the end of this video, thanks again. If you did like the video, feel free to like, comment, even subscribe if you want these videos hitting your inbox on a regular basis. Last video was our most viewed ever video, so thank you for the support. And yeah, we will be back after the Manchester City game on Sunday evening. We'll talk to you next time, listener, viewer, whatever you'd like to be called. Good luck.